Here we have the ZJ ZJ0303L shuffle foot industrial sewing machine. Now I'll explain a little bit more about what a shuffle foot is, but quite often they're referred to as a walking foot. And it's a what I would call a semi-automatic machine. So I'll go through that as well in this video. So I've got the machine head all mounted up on the table here. If you'd like to see a video on the construction or assembly of the table and stand, I'll link it in up here. So just a quick video today to show you the basic workings of the machine and what it's capable of doing. There's an automatic version as well. Pretty much we've got a long arm machine here. So this area under here is longer than a standard machine here, so you can get more materials in here. Yeah, so I'll just run through some of the basics here. So stitch length is adjusted with this dial here. You push this lever here in and turn the dial. So clockwise will decrease the stitch length and anti-clockwise increases the stitch length there. We've got a reversing lever here for back tack. Just quickly before I show you bobbin winding there, I'll tip the machine back here. That's pretty heavy, and you can see that we've got oil down here in the sump, and we come up to the H on the oil level mark there. You'll notice this little knob here has got a plus and a minus on it. That there is to change the amount of oil that gets delivered to the hook system. If you find you're getting too much oil splashing out down in here, or spraying out down in here, you can adjust this to decrease that. But there's a special method for adjusting that, because you don't want to starve the hook of oil either. Down this end here we've got the oil filter, the pump here. So just while I've got it on its back there, you can see the lighting system under here. These LED bulbs here for lighting, quite nice. Just quickly show you what comes with the machine here. We've got a drawer here that mounts under the desk there. I haven't put that on at this stage. So you get a screwdriver. Also you get a little oil bottle here. That's useful for manually oiling these points here, which should be done before the machine is used for the first time. There's also an oil point under this little rubber bung here. Manual oil points around here as well to be done. So do those before you first use the machine. Another one over here. And probably I would say every 8 hours of use, probably. Just a wee drop there. And we've got spare needles here. Size 110, and a few spare bobbins and whatnot. Now, speaking of bobbins, I'll show you how to wind a bobbin on this. I've cut the thread back here so that there's no chance of it getting tangled here while I'm winding a bobbin. Just a note, if the machine, say, is out of its top dead center position, so normally when the needle positioning's done, the machine will automatically position the take-up lever up here. You'll see that in a second. But if for whatever reason the machine has been turned so that it's out of that position whilst it's off, just be aware it can catch you out actually if you're not careful. So I'll turn the machine on and you'll see what happens there. It's on there. It automatically needle positions just to get the take up to the top of its travel there. And yeah, so you want to be careful when you're turning the machine on, just to make sure you don't have your fingers anywhere near this area here. Yep, so that's ready to start bobbin winding. I'll lift the presser foot. It's quite a good idea to lift the presser foot when winding a bobbin so that there's no wear and tear on the feed dogs or the underside of the presser feet there. So we sit the bobbin on here. So we just thread from back to front there, And then we come around between the discs here. That's the bobbin winder tension discs there. Just pull that through. And then we come across to the bobbin winder itself. And just we'll wind a few times around there to get started. And then engage the bobbin winder like so. Come around this way, clockwise around the bobbin there. Go around a few times there, more than a few. And then I think I'd just be tempted to trim that off there, trim that tail there. Bobbin winder automatically clicks off when the bobbins fall there, and you may also notice that we've got oil pumping up to the oil sight glass there. So that indicates that the system is pumping oil. It's a little bit like the oil light in your car. If you see the oil light come on in your car, that's an indication obviously there's a problem with the oil system. If this stops pumping oil up to the sight glass, that indicates there's a problem with the pumping system there. To show you the thread that I'm using here, this is just old stock that I've got lying around. It's not the cleanest looking thread there, but it's a Coates Turco Satin M25, so reasonably heavy. And on the bobbin here, I've got a size 20 black here. There's the control panel there, and over the back here we've got the on-off switch here. I've only gone through 2 of these holes here because I found that going through the third one introduces too much pre-tension, and I found that that was putting too much tension on the thread. So we come down here through this loop here, through the little pre-tensioner here, down through this loop here. I'll show you the threading from here. So we come in between the discs here, the tension discs, and up and over the check spring here. So you can see that it's gone over the check spring and then under this bar here. So that's how the check spring should behave there when you pull the thread there. Just dips down and then through this loop here, it just pulls in from the right hand side. And then come into the take up there, right to left there. And then we come down through this loop here, through that loop there, and then just through the loop directly above the needle there. That one there, and then we thread from left to right. Now I've got quite a heavy needle in here today. That's a 140. That's 1.4 millimeters in diameter. The blade of the needle is 1.4 millimeters. So foot lifting, we've got a manual lever. So if we have a look from behind here, we've got a manual foot lift lever here for manually lifting the presser foot here, or we can use the we can use the knee lever there. So now that we've got the bobbin wound, and of course you can be winding another bobbin whilst you're sewing with this machine. We've got 2 threads on the stand there, so the black you could have threaded and wound up to wind another bobbin whilst you're using the machine. I'll show you the threading of the bobbin case with the white thread here just for clarity. So you hold the bobbin so that when you pull the thread off, the bobbin turns clockwise. And then you hold the bobbin case like so, place the bobbin into the bobbin case, pull the thread into the little slot down here and underneath the tensioner spring there. like that, and that should pull out nice and smoothly there. You can install the bobbin case just by reaching under and, you know, clicking the bobbin case into position there just by feel, but I'll show you how that works. So I'll just tip the machine back here. So this is the hook assembly here. So you've got this spindle here, and then the bobbin case, this lever here, this little lever here, that needs to be horizontal or parallel with the underside, like that. And then you just push it in, click it in like that, and you can see that that lever there is parallel with the underside of the machine bed there. It's a good reference point. So I've just got a leg, cut off a leg of an old pair of jeans here. So we've got the jeans, you know, you've got some fairly grunty lumps here. So, you know, that's as far as I know, that's a felled seam. So there's 1, 2, there's 4 layers there. And then when you get to these lumps here, there's that's rolled over, so it's 3 times 4, 12 layers of denim there. And that is a safety stitched overlock seam here. It's 2 layers there, so that's 6 layers. You can see the hemming machine that I've used here. So you've got a long stitch length here, and you can see when it's got approached the lump here that the stitch length has changed, and that's called stitch length, that's stitch density change, that's what they call that. And yeah, shouldn't really happen. Don't think it's happened on that lump there, but anyway, I'll show you that. This machine can handle that. I'll just draw up the bobbin thread here, the same as any other machine, just 1 full rotation until the take-up lever's back up to the top of its travel there. Put the thread under there, and let's buzz around this seam here. Now, I'm doing this, okay. See there that it stitch density changed a little bit there. We can increase the stepping motion, so you'll see that the you know, these feet are alternating their stepping motion height here. And if you want to go over thicker lumps and bumps there, you can adjust the height of the walking motion by loosening this bolt here, locking bolt, and sliding this lever here up and down a little slot here. There's a little slot here. So by adjusting this here, you can raise and lower the amount of walking motion as such. Yeah, so you can raise and lower this height here. So it's probably not quite high enough for these lumps. So I think it'll struggle on this one here. Might have to help it a little bit. Just get in behind there and give it a little bit of a hand over there. Yeah, just got to give it a little hand off the back end of that. Just drop that stitch length down a little bit. And if I back heel on the treadle here, you'll see that it'll do a needle position. So I'll just back heel now, and that's raised the needle. It's actually raised the take-up lever to its top position there. So that's ready just to remove there. Now the automatic machine, as I say, this is what I'd call a semi-automatic. It does needle positioning. The automatic machine does an automatic back tack. It can be programmed to do it at the start and the finish, or the start only, or the finish only, or, you know, turned off completely. It also has an automatic trimmer, so when you back heel, the machine will do an automatic trim sequence and automatically trim these threads here. We have a look here. Yeah, I think they did a pretty good job there. Just it's hard to see there, but it did sort of stall a little bit coming off this lump here. But you know, you can just give it a wee bit of a hand through. That's no problem at all. I'll just buzz down some of this. It's fairly lightweight, 2 layers of denim here. Oops, I'm just trying this thicker, down this thicker piece here. Just head down the seam here. Yep, no worries with that. It's looking pretty good. Okay. Yep, looking pretty good there. So yeah, no problems with the sort of lighter weight, or relatively, you know, lightweight for this machine. 2 layers of denim there, and then yeah, no problems with that seam there. So I'll just explain the differences here between a shuffle foot and a full compound feed walking foot. I don't have a full compound feed walking foot to show you right at the moment, but I'll explain it here. You'll notice that the needle, it goes down through the presser foot, this central presser foot here, and you've also got this other presser foot on the outside here, and you'll see that the needle always stays in one place as such. Apart from it going up and down, it's always in one place. It doesn't move back and forward like a needle feed or a compound feed machine. I've done a video on a Saruba. It's a needle feed machine, and it's more like a plain sewer, not a heavy duty machine like this. But if you want to see a needle feed machine in action, I'll link it in up here. So you can see that it's always stationary as far as the back and forward movement goes. And you'll see that the outer foot here is actually doing the walking. So it's feeding there along with the feed dog. I'll show you that in a second. You'll see that when I lift the foot. And then it's coming forward now, it's lifted. The center foot is clamping the material whilst the stitch is being formed, and then the outer foot comes in, clamps the material, the inner foot lifts, and the outer foot feeds along with the feed dog. That is what they call a shuffle foot, but sometimes also called a walking foot. But as I say, it's not a true compound feed walking foot. Now, a compound feed walking foot, the outer foot is stationary. It lifts but doesn't feed back and forward. And the center foot here, along with the needle and the feed dog, does the feeding, as the needle comes down into the material. The needle and the center presser foot here moves in unison and feeds the fabric through. So that's the main difference, and as say, the outer foot just remains stationary. But there, if I lift the foot here, you'll see that the feed dog is working in unison with the outer feed there. Okay. Whereas on a compound feed machine, the feed dog has a hole in it, and it does a needle feed along with the needle or the needle bar and the inner foot. So yeah, hopefully that explains the differences between the two. Next time I get a compound feed walking foot in, I'll show you that. You've also got this handy little stepper button here. So that will do 1 step or half step. But if you hold it, it's your slow speed. pretty handy. Now the control panel here, there's a little instruction book that goes with the control panel. The key ones here are, P, enter parameter area function key. S is for save, so you select your parameter and then you increment or decrement the values with these up and down arrows, and then you use the S for save. And then we've got the settings here, so P01, program 01 that'll be, and that's maximum sewing speed in revs per minute. Speed curve adjustment, that'll be acceleration percentage. Default's 80, between 10 and 100. You can program the needle up, needle down, so the default stopping position. Yeah, soft start speed, 200 to 1500, default's 400. Stitch numbers for soft start. So that, they're your important ones here. I'm not really going to go into those ones in too much detail there. It's got the error checklist here. So, connection pinouts, things like that. Little cursor doing its thing, that's just telling you that there's power on. Let's have a little look at the manual here. The Chinese there. Your contents. So this is just running through some of the specifications here. Application, medium and heavyweight materials, sewing speed, maximum 2000 stitches per minute, max stitch length 8mm, needle bar stroke 37mm, lifting amount 3.5 to 5.5mm, that'll be the stepping lift. Needle DPX17, maximum size 23, that's the imperial size. So I'm using a 120, that's a size 19. So a 23 will be 4 sizes up from that. Presser foot lift height 8mm max for the hand lifter, 16mm max for the knee lifter. Hook, larger lubrication hook, lubrication, automatic lubrication, motor power 750 watts. And then it just goes through some of the, the installation of the sump and things like that. Lubrication, oil level, the pump sight glass there. This is what I was explaining about the little adjustable knob there. Shows you how to adjust the amount of oil getting to the hook there. Mounting the needle, bobbin case, installing the bobbin case, mounting the bobbin, threading the needle thread, bobbin winding, adjusting the bobbin winder, stitch length adjustment here, assembling the thread stand. What else? Knee lifter height adjustment, take up spring threading, thread adjustment, tension adjustment here. Some adjustments, feed dog height, things like that, lifting, balancing of the presser foot lifting, angling of the feed dogs, adjusting the timing, the needle and the feed mechanism. Pretty good manual, quite in depth here. More there. Adjusting the difference of stitch length between forward and back, so balancing your back tack there. Adjusting the tension release, adjust the oil pump, adjusting the lifting amount of the presser foot, adjusting the trimming. So this is for the automatic system. This is the automatic thread trimmer. Thread trimming, we won't go through that, and then a parts listing. I won't go through all that, but pretty good parts listing. So yeah, quite a nice little manual there, pretty thorough. So it's covering the 0303L series, so that includes the D4 version, which is the automatic version, and of course you also get a cover here to go over the machine there, nice lavender colour. So that's about it for this one. Just a quick overview of the Zoje ZJ0303L shuffle foot industrial walking foot sewing machine, and I hope you found that interesting and or helpful. Thank you very much to my patrons on Patreon. For as little as $1 a month you can help support the channel on patreon.com/sewing machines. there's a few benefits there, likes of early access to videos and things like that. Yeah, so thanks again to my patrons over there, and thank you very much for watching.